Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of our Sing Your Heart Song Summit. And we've got an amazing lineup of speakers for you today because we are committed to finishing strong. First up this morning is the wonderful Laura Feltz. She is a certified master results coach, NLP practitioner, and hypnotherapist. She draws upon leading edge mind-body tools and techniques used in over 42 countries. Her results-focused and evidence-based approach delivers meaningful and lasting change for her clients. Laura's presentation today is titled, Leveraging Your Mind to Mind Your Stress. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be here singing your heart song. This makes my heart sing on a Friday morning, especially after that great magic song. I was listening to it thinking, I haven't heard this song for a long while, and it's a really good song. So it makes me want to go back and dig up some of those old tunes. So I'm going to do a share screen. Let me just get to that. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, fantastic. So just so you are aware, I am not able to see hand signals. I am a partially sighted individual, so I see like an out of focus picture. So everyone looks fantastic all the time for me. So my name is Laura Feltz, and this is Leverage Your Mind to Mind Your Stress and have your heart sing, because when our mind is stressed, our heart is definitely not in a place of singing. When we create space in our mind, it opens up the channel to our throat chakra and down into our heart. I heard it described yesterday, like we breathe in and it's like a slide down to our toes. I just love that description. So I leave you with that as we start on this journey together. So you are here for a purpose. You signed up to this summit for a purpose and are listening to this if you're doing it live or when you're listening to the recording. You're here for a purpose. So set your intention for what do you really want to garner from this presentation, the summit today, and really focus on having your intention. When we focus our intent, it's like a beacon of light for ourselves and it guides our song. It's almost like I remember in grade 1, Mrs. Stewart, the music teacher, she would have one of those little round, I don't know what they were called, she would blow it and would have the note so that she could sing in key for us at the beginning of music class. So I think of Mrs. Stewart and blowing that little machine or that little device that she had for setting the tone and the note. That's exactly what setting the purpose is for you for today. So in this session, we are going to discover the depths and the power of your mind. This may be new to some individuals. This may be a refresh for some individuals. I invite you to just come with an open mind and hear the information newly for the first time, even if it is something that you've heard before. Because you know what? You're a new person today, and you've had experiences since the last time you've heard this information. We'll hear what elite athletes do to boost their resilience. I will share with you a game-changing technique for just evaporating your busy mind. And I'll share 3 simple tips that are backed by science that you can implement immediately and easily. So a little bit about me. Livia, thank you so much for the great introduction. Yes, I am a results coach and hypnotherapist. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd be a hypnotherapist, I would have laughed at you. I was just exiting corporate from a 20-year career in senior human resources management, dealing with executives and with global clients. I was doing these video calls before they kind of became in vogue with the pandemic, and never thought that I would ever be here in terms of being a hypnotherapist and a results coach. And you know what? You never know where life and your heart song will take you. And that's what I did. I hit a wall and I tuned into what was really important to me. and where I really wanted to shine and sing and help other women release themselves from where they are stuck in their lives and really move forward. So, I don't know about you, but the clients that I work with, they are stressed. So typically they are professional women and they're successful. So these are women who have busy jobs. They may be executives, they have busy family lives, and they're feeling stressed. They may not be sleeping well at night, like over 50% of Canadians through the pandemic have found that they've had poor disrupted sleep. And certainly if you're feeling stressed, it's going to show up in your sleep. They also may have anxiety around doing presentations, something that they haven't experienced before. As they level up in the organization, the stakes change and they find that their anxiety is something that is new for them. And you know what, given the last 20 months that we've been through with the pandemic, almost 77% of Canadians report that they are stressed as well. We have just gone through an unprecedented time of change at each level of our life. If you think about, a year ago, we just had gotten used to shopping for our groceries in a different way, interacting with our friends and family in a different way, working in a different way, homeschooling with kids, and there's so many things that have changed. And that type of change, our brain kind of does a little bit of a, wait a minute, because it loves routine. So it's going to feel uncomfortable and out of kilter. When we are under stress, we actually disconnect from our inner resources. When we're stressed and when we're angry, we disconnect from our inner resources. And when I saw this visual, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. This is kind of like that busy brain that I used to get when I was in corporate. And certainly there were a few points during the pandemic that I've had this busy brain as well, where you have that feeling of stuck, no options, the opportunities and the ideas and ways and solutions just weren't available for you, because in times of stress, we get tunnel vision. We narrow our focus and we kind of get a little bit more rigid in how we think and deal. We may get irritated at the ones that we love the most, our spouse, our kids, our pets, just life in general. And then we feel badly afterwards that we have just let stress get the better of us. Well, today I'm going to show you 3 different techniques that you can implement immediately. These are not magic wand. These are not silver bullet. Oh my gosh, everything's going to be great afterwards. These are small, simple things that you can do on a regular basis. So they're easy to implement, easy to remember, which is key. And as you do them over time, you're going to notice a shift. So my invitation to you is to use the tips for 7 days and just track yourself. So I'd like you to just pause for a moment, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being negligible, 10 being absolutely off the charts, yes, fully and completely stressed, where would you rate your stress at this point in your life on a scale of 1 to 10? If you wanted to share in the chat, you can, or just make a note of that on a paper somewhere so that in 7 days, you can come back and really reassess where's your stress after utilizing the tips that I'm going to share with you. Stress impacts our performance as well. So we just aren't as resourceful as leaders, as parents, as friends, as sons, daughters, etc. So I don't know, can anyone relate to this? Yes, definitely. The pandemic has stretched us in many, many different ways. Our brain, if you think of your mind, it's kind of like a smartphone. So, we have our smartphones, and we've got our most used apps on the first page of your smartphone. But if you're like me, I've got pages and pages of apps on the smartphone. Our mind is like that smartphone. So there are apps that are updating in the background that we are not even aware of, that just do their things at night, unless we get that notification that we need to, have our phone plugged in and restart our phone. It really is something that runs out of our awareness. And what happens with those apps, like our mind, there are things that run in the background. They take up storage space. They take up our energy unless we are constantly culling and looking at what are those things. When we look at our mind, those are things like decisions that we have made in terms of how things will be, or negative emotions that we may be holding on to. So when I say negative emotions, I'm talking about negative emotions from something that may have happened yesterday or last year or a decade ago that still you're carrying around like an invisible backpack. That's going to show up through all of how you function, because it's taking energy and juice from your life. It actually mutes your heart song when you're carrying around that backpack. If you think about it, if you try to sing with a heavy backpack on, you're going to be leaning forward a little bit. You're crunching your diaphragm, and you're just not able to open your throat and your heart to express yourself. And that's what happens when we compound those things that we're not dealing with, such as stress, those unresolved emotions, those unresolved conversations. So today I will be sharing some tips with you in order to move forward from there. Our mind is absolutely astounding. So our conscious mind is actually only 5% of our mind. When I heard this stat, I was astounded. I thought it would have been more, because my mind, I don't know about yours, has been pretty busy, especially at 3 a.m. When I was working in my corporate job. I would wake up constantly with a very busy brain. Our conscious mind is our logical, analytical mind, and it processes information for us. Our unconscious mind is actually where all learning, behavior, and change happens. So if you think about when you learn to tie your shoes, initially it was really hard and you were really concentrating, but soon you're able to tie your shoes without even looking. And then you're tying your shoes, having a conversation. And now you could probably tie your shoes, balancing, on one foot, hopefully safely, having a conversation with someone else, and noise in the background, and not even look at your shoe, and it's tied. That's because the learning is there at your unconscious. Brushing your teeth is another great example. You just brush your teeth and do it automatically. You pick up your toothbrush and you likely follow the same pattern in your mouth as you're brushing your teeth, and with the same hand that you've been using for years and years, and you do it twice a day. That happens unconsciously. So it's just one of those things you just do automatically. You don't even really think about it at all. For your unconscious mind, that's where all of our values, our beliefs, our memories are stored. If you would believe that our unconscious mind processes, wait for this, 11 million bits of information per second, 11 million bits. However, our conscious mind only processes 40 to 50 bits per second. 11 million, 40 to 50. That's a bit of a difference. So we delete, we distort, and we generalize as we take in information from our unconscious mind to our conscious. And that's where we can create stories out of things that occur for us. And we start carrying around that emotional backpack that weigh on us heavily. So it is something that, as we look forward to how our mind works, it is there's a lot happening that is out of our awareness. So, throw a yes in the chat if this is a new stat for you. I'm sure it may be as astounding for you as it was for me. I talked about all learning and behavior and change happens at our unconscious level. That's where, if you look at New Year's resolutions, is a great example of a conscious choice to change. A lot of people say, oh yes, I want to, let's pick one, lose weight. I'm going to start January 1st. The drop-off date for New Year's resolutions is January the 17th, because we haven't connected to the deep values and our beliefs that we can do that. And until you make that connection, get to the root of why you want to make that change and why that change is good for you, it's just not going to stick. Those are things that I work with my clients about. We get to the root of what's really keeping them stuck, and then we move forward. There we go. So who wants to play? Is everyone up for playing a little game? So this is a fun exercise, and it just will illustrate the power of your unconscious mind. So I'd invite you, so if you're listening off screen, hopefully you are not driving, so ensure that you're doing something that doesn't require your full attention. Just take a moment and close your eyes and take a breath in through your nose and just exhale. And I'm just going to take you on a little bit of a journey here. So just imagine, picture in your mind's eye that you're standing in your kitchen, just in front of your kitchen counter. And on your kitchen counter is a beautiful, juicy, ripe lemon. Lovely yellow. It's just that right level of ripeness. You pick up that lemon, you can feel the waxy texture of the rind on your fingertips, the small, small ridges, the shape of the lemon. You set it down gently on the cutting board and you pick up the knife and very safely you cut the lemon in half. And you can just feel a little spritz of that juice spraying up in the mist, and you're smelling the zest of the lemon, that citrusy smell. And as you open the lemon, you can see the pulp and the different sections of the lemon. You can see the juice and some of the seeds that are poking out. And maybe it's some of the juices run down your finger, and you can just feel that tanginess against your skin. Bring that lemon up and just touch it with your tongue, feeling the fleshy pulp and the tangy taste of that zestiness of the lemon. Okay, now open your eyes. So I'd love for you to put in the chat a 1 if you find that you are salivating a little bit more than when we started. Or number 2, you actually smelled lemon. So 1, 2, or if there was something else that you uncovered, please let me know. And maybe Olivia, if you were able to just take a look at the chat and let me know what people have said, if people have commented on that, that would be great.
Yeah, people are commenting both actually, 1 and 2.
Yeah, that is the power of our unconscious mind. It cannot distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. So just picture sitting in a movie theater and you get to that edge of your seat. That's the power of our unconscious mind. We get vested. So this is what you have to work with. This is what elite athletes understand. They know that by creating vivid mental pictures, mental rehearsal, some people call it, visualization is called as well. And you really invoke your senses and that feeling, you are going to be so powerful. Elite athletes use visualization to, picture different shots that they do. So let's say it's a layup shot or a golf shot. They picture it over and over again. How are their muscles changing? How are they moving? And they utilize that in order as part of their regular practice. It is a phenomenally powerful tool that's available at our fingertips. You think 11 million bits of information in and 40 to 50 bits that we're processing. There's so much going on. It's incredible. So our unconscious mind.
I was going to say in the chat too, Rosa commented that she felt the texture.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. And you know what? This is fantastic. The more creative and innovative and open you are to playing, the easier it is for you to leverage your unconscious mind in these ways for working towards your goals and aligning that those actions towards your goals. So that's fantastic. Our unconscious mind, the primary responsibility is to preserve our body and to run it, keep us safe. So the caveat here in the keeping us safe, we have a reptile mind, and the reptile mind is on alert for anything that's new or different. So it's going to give us that warning signal like, whoa, we haven't done this before. That's why last year was such an upheaval for people, because almost everything was changing for us at a foundational level. And our reptilian brain was just on overdrive going, warning, warning. However, what we don't understand is that our brain hasn't evolved since the time where we were on guard for the saber-toothed tigers. The, warnings that, oh gosh, we may be running out of toilet paper. It's still the same level of alarm that your unconscious mind had to warning the saber-toothed tiger. So it's really just understanding that it's just a signal that something new and different is shifting. So it just brings a different perspective for you. So some of the secrets of elite athletes, we'll jump right into it. One of the big ones is the focus of personal power and cause versus effect. And in this state, we've got the effect side, and I apologize, this is a slide build, but we're going to roll with this. The effect side is the excuses. I've got no time, no money, no resources. I just can't do it. There's drama, there's reasons, etc. On the cause side of the equation, it's focused on results. So how can I be better today? What can I do differently today? And it's really focusing on being at cause. So I like to describe this to my clients as you're either pulling into the parking spot of woe is me or that negative emotion, or you're choosing to drive by or drive through. You're not pulling in, setting up camp like a squatter in the effect side, because the effect side is going to take you down the tube and where you definitely don't want to go. On the cause side, it's empowerment at its finest. So the question is, where are you on the cause side or the effect side? And this is something that at any moment during the day, you can focus on switching from the effect to the cause side. It does take a little bit of work and practice. And when you notice that you're at effect, it's okay, what can I do to make this shift now? So I'm not sure, you've probably heard of cause and effect before. It's a fairly common terminology. So just before we go to the next slide, I want you to don't think of a blue tree. So really try your hardest not to think of a blue tree. Oh, move forward 1 second. There we go. So don't think of a blue tree. The blue tree, if you really try and not think of the blue tree, what are you thinking about? The blue tree. So the blue tree is something that is representative of the don't. Our unconscious mind cannot process a negative. When we say don't think of a blue tree, Don't forget your homework. Don't forget to pick up the milk. What your unconscious mind is actually hearing is forget to pick up the milk, forget to take your homework, and think of the blue tree. So when for your mind, we want to focus on what you want in your life versus what you don't want. This is the piece that is so powerful, and we've all heard it before. Think of what you want versus what you don't want. And it's so easy to list what we don't want. And one of the exercises that my clients go through is listing everything they don't want on a separate clean sheet of paper, and then what they do want on another piece of paper, and then destroying the don't list. Because if you're focused on don't, that's what you're going to get. So that was the third tip. We'll go back to tip number 2, setting your intention. We talked about this early in the session. There's actually a Harvard study that indicates if you spend 5 minutes in the mirror, looking in the mirror in the morning and setting your intention, it will have a great impact on your day. Now, the upping of this, if you pair this with something called habit stacking, brushing your teeth, you brush your teeth, you return your toothbrush, and you habit stack this with your new habit of setting your intention, looking in the mirror and setting your intention. Today's going to be a great day. I'm going to have success today. I choose to focus on what needs to be done that will move me forward toward my goal. That is habit stacking, pairing something that you're doing now and doing regularly with something that's new and it's small. So setting your intention is easy. I know it can sound a little bit hokey. It does work. You want to bet that Oprah sets her intention every day, and look at the empire she's built. We talked about focusing on what you want and the blue tree. Focus on what you actually want versus what you do not want. And number 3, stop saying stupid things out loud. What I mean by this is when we think something negative and we say it out loud, like, oh, I'm so stupid, cancel, cancel, cancel. It's 4 to 7 times more powerful when we verbalize it. There's a story of, I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's a baseball player and they were in the World Series. And he said in an interview that the worst thing that could happen to him would be missing a ground ball between his legs. What happened? He missed a ground ball between his legs, and the other team went on to win the championship. His worst fear, he verbalized. And, you know, I'm not saying there's a direct correlation. However, studies have shown it's a 4 to 7 times greater probability of happening or manifesting that piece. This is something that mental performance coach Trevor Moawad really worked with his clients on. And he wrote a book about this as well that was released early last year. It's fantastic. And he really talks about the concept of neutral thinking. So versus going to positive thinking, which sometimes creates resistance. So, you know, if we go right to, oh, I'm fantastic, I'm having a great day, our mind may go, whoa, no, I don't believe that. Softening it by saying, I choose to believe I'll have a great day. It takes away that resistance. So just going to neutral versus positive is one of the biggest steps that you can take for your mindset. And the last piece on this third tip is to avoid listening to the news, especially before bedtime or when you first wake up in the morning. That is the time when your unconscious mind is most open. So that is valuable real estate for you. Why would you give that away to the news of the day that is in a model designed for the negative, right? This is an opportunity for you to focus on your gratitude, or what are you creating? That visualization of what do you really want in your life? So when we focus on what we want, our intention drives our focus. Our focus determines our behavior, and our behavior determines our results. So it's just a chain. It's like our thoughts determine our feelings determine our actions determine our behavior and our results. What we think and how we feel has the biggest impact on how we are going to act. And that's where you see those elite athletes, they come into the gym or their game and they're wearing their headset. We saw it in the Tokyo Olympics, the swimmers coming out and they're listening to their headphones and they're listening to their walk-on songs, basically the songs that are getting them up and revving them for the type of performance that they want. Now, are you ready for a science-backed technique for reducing stress instantly? I'll take myself off the screen share for this. Who's ready? Yes. Okay. So this is another one where I invite you to close your eyes and go within. And we're going to go on a small journey very quickly. So with this, I invite you to imagine in your mind's eye in front of you that there is a box sitting on the table in front of you. Now, you have an opportunity to create this box in any material you'd like. This is a magic box that will expand to hold anything that you put inside. So you can create it out of beautiful, luxurious velvet. You could create it out of sturdy and structural wood. It could be out of sleek and cool metal. Whatever material you want to construct it, construct it. Ensure that your box has a lid, a latch, and a lock. It will seal automatically. So with eyes closed, I want you to just imagine taking the lid off of your box. Good. Now, any problems, worries, to-do list, unresolved conversations, projects in flight that are distracting your focus for this time or for a big presentation coming up this afternoon, put it in the box. Ensure that you get all the strands and strings attached to all of it. Put it all in the box. The box will expand to hold it all. And trust me, this is a game-changing technique that my clients swear by. Put it all in the box. And when it's all in the box, replace the lid on the box. And as soon as you replace the lid on the box will immediately lock and it will automatically seal shut. So nothing will escape it. Now, in front of you, there is a sturdy shelf. Imagine there's a sturdy shelf, and in a moment, you're going to put that box up on the shelf. And as you put that box up on the shelf, you'll commit to a specific date and time. It might be in 2 hours. It might be later today. It might be tomorrow morning at this time. You come back and retrieve the box and all of its contents. And when you do, you might find that as your unconscious mind has been able to work on those issues, problems, challenges, to-do list, unresolved conversations, some of those are resolved. New ideas and solutions are present for you. So I'd like you to take an inhale just as you put that box on the shelf. And as you let go, exhale out your mouth. Now commit to the time and date that you're going to come back and retrieve this box on the shelf and its contents. This is a really important point. This is a commitment with your unconscious mind that you're making. And take another inhale and exhale and release. Good. And just notice who's feeling a little bit lighter now that you've put that box on the shelf, right? This is a great technique that you can use before bedtime as part of your bedtime ritual. If you wake up in the middle of the night with racing mind, I wish I had have known this in my corporate days. so that I could go back to sleep with ease. Wow, I was spending hours with racing mind. This is a game changer. Focus before you have a big presentation. One of my clients uses this technique before she goes into an executive team meeting to ensure that she's focused and fully present and not thinking about the text she may have just gotten from, her kids or her nanny. It really has made a big, big difference. So who's going to be using this on a regular basis? Yeah. It's an easy one. So again, coming back to the techniques that I shared with you today, you've got the science back, putting all of your worries and concerns in a box on a shelf. That's number one. The 3 simple tips, setting your intention each and every day, habit stacking that with your teeth brushing in the morning, then focusing on what you want. And only on what you want. And stop saying stupid stuff out loud, specifically negative things out loud. And if you catch yourself thinking something negative, you could sing to yourself, cancel, cancel, cancel. And it will immediately interrupt the thought and disappear. Because the last thing we want to do is make ourselves wrong for having that thought, because we have so many thoughts during the day. Just let it go, notice it and let it go. Notice it and let it go. Just like going up the scale and the octaves. I have 2 gifts for you that will be put in the chat. Let me just go back to my share screen again. Here's my share screen. Of course, I went out of this. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. So we covered off what we did in this session. So my gifts to you, there is a link to a free download. What we just went through, the release from overthinking, I'm gifting that to you in a hypnosis track. So you'll get the double impact with going into a light trance with that. And you can use this at any time. Caveat, avoid listening to the track while driving, operating machinery, or doing something that requires your attention. You want to ensure that you're sitting or laying down comfortably and safely while you listen to the track. And I do offer a complimentary 30-minute consultation. It's a discovery call where we can dive into any issues or challenges that you're having in your life, and you'll walk away with 1 or 2 recommendations from me. So the links are in the chat. I'm Laura Feltz. It's been such an honor, and I open it up to questions from the audience.
I am curious, Laura. First of all, thank you for enlightening all of us. My mind thanks you and my heart thanks you.
You're so welcome.
With regards to the verbalizing our negative thoughts having a 4 to 7 times greater impact, is that also true for positive?
No.
Like affirmations or?
Yeah, negative. We have a negative bias in our brain. So the negative is going to be 4 to 7 times more powerful than positive. So that's where saying positive affirmations, we need to say them probably more often than we are, and ensuring that there's no resistance. So any like inklings of self-doubt, you want to dial it back until you're to a point where you feel clear with and aligned with that affirmation, until such time that you can take it up to that next level. So the I choose to believe, I find, has been a great softening that works for my clients. And if anyone else has any other suggestions, I'm absolutely open to those in terms of just softening so that the resistance is dialed down. Yeah.
I have one actually.
Yeah.
I read, and Todd Herman, I believe, book is Alter Ego. And he talks, are you familiar with it?
I'm not. I'm writing it down.
In it, he talks about various people who take on these alter egos, and that can be anybody from Beyonce to, he listed a bunch of sports people, and I'm not a sports person, so they're escaping my mind right now. But basically, It's the idea that if you have this alter ego, this person, your ideal self type of thing. So one of the things that I do with my affirmations in the morning is that I state them. Stephen is, and nobody calls me Stephen. And if they do, I resist it. But my alter ego, my higher self is named Stephen, as in such, for example, Steven Spielberg, or, and by stating the affirmation as in Stephen is whatever, then it's kind of like the same. I don't have to own it myself right now, but my higher self can own it and be at that state.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the other piece with that, if you're partnering that with visualization, when you're looking at future orientation, so your future goal, you want to ensure that you're visualizing that like you're looking at yourself in a movie versus seeing yourself through your own eyes. Because if you're doing visualization, seeing yourself through your own eyes, again, coming back to the power of our unconscious mind, it thinks you've already achieved that. So it's not going to give you the resources. We've got something called the RAS, the reticular activation system. It scans the environment for things that we need to know about. That's why if you go and buy a new car, all of a sudden you see, let's say it's a white Mercedes-Benz, all of a sudden you see all these white Mercedes-Benz everywhere. It's not that there's an influx of them. Your brain, your unconscious mind is scanning and bringing that into your awareness. So it works the same way when we focus on what we want. That's what it's scanning the environment for. When we're focused on what we don't want, it's scanning for what we don't want, and we're getting more of that.
Powerful. Thank you.
Yeah. So great. Wonderful. Other questions? So which technique are you committed to trying or doing for 7 days?
I love the variation you gave too about the cancel, that we can sing it. So that's the one I'm going to implement first.
Beautiful.
Cancel.
Yes. I invite you to just do it for 7 days and just notice, make a note to yourself to just notice how different it is and how it is instead. Yeah. Yes. I can't see your name. I'm sorry.
Rosa. Yes,
Rosa. Thank you.
Hi, so nice to be here. This is my first time for the 3 days. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad I'm here.
Welcome.
This is so good. I am definitely going to use my burgundy velvet box that I created to put everything in. That is so cool. I love it.
Yes. Amazing. And remember to pick up the box at the specific date and time. So if you're using it daily, commit to it. I have a coaching colleague who used this technique. She woke up on a Friday morning and she had no voice. And that evening she was going to start a 3-day workshop. And we did this technique. And by 5 p.m., so it was 10 a.m. we did the technique. By 5 p.m., she had enough of her voice back that she could do the session. She had, arranged a backup just in case. And she was okay for the rest of the weekend. And what was in her way was a conversation she needed to have with her husband. And there just wasn't time to do it before the Sunday evening. So she committed to having that conversation. And it was amazing how her voice just came back once she put, whatever was weighing on her in the box and had that commitment. It is that powerful.
That is so awesome. So I like that you mentioned about making a commitment, because I think that's one of the things that gets in my way. It's not wanting to commit to so many things at once and being a little bit concerned about, will I be able to hold on to those commitments? But I see that when we make a commitment, it actually just gets done. So, and it clears it. So thanks for sharing that, because that's a real, it's a big realization, instead of having it be parked in the left brain, now I can see it as a reality, as something I can actually do.
Amazing. Good. And what's one thing that you can do to ensure that you are following through on the commitments that you have?
I think I'd like to tell one person, and then have that person check in with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, accountability is big.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And who is that person? You don't have to name them, but just who are they to you?
My better half.
Okay. So when are you going to have that conversation?
Well, actually, probably this afternoon. I don't know. I haven't decided what my commitment is right now because I have to go look at but we will, that box, because I'm going to be at his place later this evening. I imagine the conversation might happen this evening.
Okay.
I would say, okay, let me put a time to it. Let's say at 7 p.m.
Awesome. So
Okay.
Rosa,
Yeah.
do you have my email address in the chat? Please email me and just let me know that you've completed that.
Okay.
I look forward to receiving that. Thank you so, so much. It has been such a delight sharing with you all. I hope this presentation helps you and supports you in opening your heart song today. And I turn it back over to Steve and Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you, everybody.